Factory 5 Roadster 6882. Time for an update video. It is January 7th, I believe. I was looking through my YouTube videos. I saw that I haven't made a update video since December 3rd, so I thought would be the time. One thing we've been doing here a lot is wiring, and I'm trying to force my way through this wiring. It's been intimidating to me, and I'm looking through my old notes. I seem to have been working on wiring for over a year now, and I'm thinking, okay, I've just got to move on with it. Just put things where you want to put them now, and you may have to redo them, because I typically have to redo things 3 times anyway, so I may as well just, get started. So a couple things that I've been working on is one, relays. I don't know anything about relays in the past, and I've learned a lot about relays. I've made a little relay board here that I'm trying to utilize for some of the options that I'd like to have on the car. Those options include the front fans by the radiator, the 2 pusher fans, seat heaters or coolers for the driver and passenger, cruise control, which is that module that you see right there, and the fourth is front, let's see, the foot box fans. So these fans for the driver side and passenger side that are going to come into the foot box. So I've learned a lot about relays, and feel confident in how I've wired it up, which I don't say often, but I've been doing quite a bit with it. So something else we've been doing is the dashboard. Now it looks the same as always, however that painter's tape is where I've decided to mount it onto the hoop. Behind the painter's tape, there's nothing holding on to it right now, but just the steering wheel and the door hinge over there. We'll remove it. I have little angle iron that is riveted to the hoop, and the reason for that is that I understand that the body comes down maybe 3/4 of an inch, maybe not that much, but if you have it, the fastener in the 3/4 of an inch tubing, it's a little hard to get off when the body is on. So this hole is 1 1/4 inches below the tubing, and I've decided to just put fasteners in there to be able to remove the dash in a later time. Now I tried to make the fasteners symmetrical. I wanted to put one in the center, but I was thinking if I try to decide where there's one in the center, and then if I get stripes and they don't line up with that center, it's going to drive me nuts. So I decided not to put a center in and just have them symmetrical from the edges. So this is 3 1/4 inches from the edge, and that just worked out because I needed to get that little angle iron right in that little area there. And then this one as well just clears that gauge there. So you may be able to see I did have it over here on this line, but it interfered with the gauge, so I moved it over a little bit. So this is 14 inches from the edge. So that's what it is on the other side as well. Nobody's going to be able to tell, it's just me, I know. So let's see, the cruise control. The cruise control, that is something that folks kind of waver back and forth on, seem to surprisingly have strong opinions. Oh, you don't need that. But I wanted to have the cruise control, and that's because I'm going to be doing a lot of highway riding. We've decided to try to do the Hot Rod Power Tour that's June 9th. Maybe we'll be able to get the car done by that to be able to do the Hot Rod Power Tour. The cruise control is not going to be seen by anybody just viewing the car. This is the main module right here. Here's all the wiring coming out, and this is the cable that will attach to the accelerator pedal. So right now I just have this bracket loosely tied in here, and it will attach to this as well. So this cable will attach here. The reason I have it loose is because the go-karts I've been doing, the gas pedal is kind of about the same level, it seems to be, with my feet as the brake pedal. It may not be, but when I hit the brakes, I'm also hitting the gas. So I may move the gas forward, towards the forward of the car this way, and if so, I'm going to need to lengthen this threaded rod for my mechanical linkage, and I'll move this bracket forward as well. So I'm not having that in a permanent position yet. I had to take the clutch quadrant off in order to be able to get down in there. So that's where it's going to attach onto. How it's going to read the speed is down here on the drive shaft hoop, the safety hoop that I put in recently. That sensor down there is mounted onto the hoop, and there's going to be 4 magnets that are going to be on the drive shaft, and as the drive shaft rotates, as the magnets go past the sensor, that's what it's going to read to be able to know what speed we're going to go. So that is that twisted blue and gray cable. I've got that tucked in, comes in, and then it comes out. You can see here, it will tie into the module. Actually, I used different connectors, kind of like weather tight connectors. I'm not sure where they are in here, but weather type connectors to be able to bring those together. And then the little pad that I'm going to use will be hidden, and I'm thinking of something mounted maybe underneath here or somewhere in there to where you'll never see the buttons. So that's going to be the cruise control. So that's been put in. Let me remove the dash to get a little bit more space. Okay, dash removed. Now you can see these tabs here. That was my first try, but the skin was a little higher than the hoop, and so I decided to lower it down a little bit, just barely caught on that tab. I put 2-inch wide tabs on there so I could kind of grab into it. Looks like I got that one in the center, and that one is sort of in the center as well. So that's how that's working. All right, the relay board. That is my relay board, the 4 relays. These are coming from a key on fuse block, which is down here. I've removed my hot all the time block because I was thinking I'm really not going to use that too much. So what I have down here is radio. This is my radio power line coming from the Ron Francis harness. I've just tied that into here to the base, and because these use such little amperage, I'm using that to be able to just turn on the relay. So when I turn on the key, and I've done some testing for this, the power is hot to the radio on, so it will feed this block, and then that will feed each line, which will go to my 86 pin on the relays. So that will be these 4. And then to be able to turn on the load that I want, I'm going to put the switch on the ground side. And that is a conversation that has been on the forum, kind of a good way to do it. So I've decided to follow their advice and put the switch on the ground side. So this comes out at 85 pin, and when the switch is turned on for, let's say, the front dual fans, then it will complete the ground, which will set the relay to be able to send the power through whatever's needed in order to do the dual fans. This is actually the dual fan. This number 2 is the dual fan up front. They're not in place yet. I've just ran the wiring. So I have this fuse block here. This is my 12-volt source. That's coming from that fuse down there, and that comes straight from the battery. as well. So that comes through the firewall and it's feeding this fuse block, and then each one of these will be fused before they go into the relays. So number one is going to be the cruise control. The cruise control is this guy right here. Number two is going to be the front dual fans. Those would be the two pusher fans, more for cosmetic, but I love the look. Three is going to be for seat heaters or coolers, and I'm not really sure how to do that yet, whether I'm going to put a 12 volt like a cigarette lighter type thing. And number four is going to be the footbox fans, and that is going to be these guys here, one here on the driver's side and one on the passenger. So what I've done for that is, for the footbox fans, because there's two of them, I've tied them both in to number four, so when the key comes on, power will come to number four, and then I will need to throw a switch saying, okay, complete the ground to number four, to give me power to the footbox fans. And then the footbox fan will be hot, but I will have another switch to the ground of the footbox fan. And where is that? That is right here, the footbox fan switch to ground, and that will complete the circuit to be able to turn on the fan. And that's how I'll be able to do a driver side and a passenger side with two different switches, but there will be kind of one main switch to turn on to be able to get to turn that relay on. Let's see, otherwise just sort of cleaning up, doing wiring for the cruise control. This is for the handheld cruise control, and for the buttons that'll be hidden. This is for the heater, and that's going to mate up to that guy right there. Let's see, the dash doesn't look it, but I've sort of redone the wiring, as I'm embarrassed to say, because it really looks like trash. But all the grounds are on one side now. All the these are all the gauge lights to be able to light up the gauge. This is the clock, which has a terrible incandescent bulb, so I've put an LED in there. Autometer set it to me. I did have a short in this one, and Autometer sent me another light assembly. And then from the Ron Francis, I've wired that into and shared the gauge feed, and then I've just kind of pigtailed it to each gauge to be able to complete. And then the grounds will all go together. This is the water temperature. This is from the Ron Francis. This is the tank. The voltage will be right here. This will be able to be told by voltage that it reads. This is oil pressure. This is the fuel sender. And then this is the clock, which is going to get a hot all the time line. And let's see, and that's about it for the back of the dash. There'll be other switches, but they'll be kind of hidden. This is the wipers, and I have that hot right here, and over here I have the wiper connectors. So let's see, so that's there's that weather pack I was trying to look for before. This is what attaches the magnetic coil pickup that's around the drive shaft to the cruise control module. So I guess that's pretty much it for the wiring. Feeling pretty good about it, because I'm starting to get, I'm starting to see some closure to it, kind of getting the features that I want, and learning how to wire it, and feeling good about the wiring too. Paying a lot of attention to the amperage on each item, what they will be pulling, and making sure my gauge wiring is up for it, and checking with the form about fusing and trying to get all that correct as well. So it's been very helpful, the form has been. Otherwise, the drive shaft has been put in permanently. Things have been greased. The safety hoop is now in place. I had to move the emergency brake cable just a little bit for the safety hoop. Let's go under the car. Safety hoop mounts onto the bottom of the transmission. As you can see right there, it was all a bolt-on and pretty easy to do. And that bracket that's on the safety hoop is for the cruise control. And then we'll put the 4 magnets on there. The 4 magnets are held in place by a zip tie, which is sent by the company, but it says you might be able to use epoxy. I feel like I should use something a little extra on that. Let's see, back here we're just kind of trying to clean up. I know it doesn't look it, but I am trying to clean it up. All right, so I guess that's it. Here's the lead ready for some dual fans to be on the front. Haven't really done anything with sheet metal, but once I get everything documented as far as the wiring and make notes of all of it, then I'll be doing the aluminum in the back. My daughter's basketball season. Let's see, have I done the lava wrap? It's in the last video. I'm not really sure. I did a car show, and so I did some lava wrap around the side pipes just to make sure that my daughter doesn't burn her leg. These are I think the glass fibers lava wrap. There's one steel band under here. I bought one 50-foot long roll off of Amazon, and I was able to do both pipes with them. I haven't done it before, and I'll probably do it again, but I did notice that it is cool to the touch when the pipes are going, and that's really what we need. It's just no third-degree burns. The mud is from going to the car show. It was just a little bit muddy, but it was a good time. People were a little well, they were giggles and stuff because of what the car looked like compared to their super nice cars, but I sort of wanted people to see what it looked like, you know, in this state, because I find it fascinating in this state, and it's not going to be like this forever, and I'm probably going to miss it when it's not. So anyway, the Hot Rod Tower Tour. It's leaving from Bowling Green and going to Chattanooga, to Birmingham, to Hampton, Georgia, to Darlington, to Raleigh, to Charlotte, and so that's pretty much the route. Can't get any better for me, so I'm going to try to make that. All right, thanks.